Hey, y'all, I'm Shane Sams, the host of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast, the leader of the Flipped Lifestyle community, and the founder of flippedlifestyle.com. Super excited to be with you today to talk to another member of the Flipped Lifestyle community and help them take their business to the next level and let you listen in so that you can take your business to the next level as well. I'm really pumped about today's episode because I'm interviewing Flipped Lifestyle community member Renee Philpott. This is somebody that Jocelyn and I also know in real life, not just in the Flipped Lifestyle community. And we do business with Renee. She actually provides our printer to us that we print out our newsletters and bulletin and mail those out to our members. She sold us our printer and we leased it from her and her company. And you know how it is when you hang around with Shane and Jocelyn Sams for long enough, eventually we're going to talk you into starting an online business. We're going to talk you into starting a membership site, and we're going to get you on the road to get 100 people to pay you $50 a month, make 60 grand a year, or 200 people to pay you $50 a month, make 120 grand a year, or even farther, whatever it takes to start, build, and grow that successful membership site. Well, Jocelyn got in Renee's ear. And Jocelyn started coaching Renee. And guess what Renee did? She launched a membership. She started creating content, building community, and leading amazing people. She's got a beta group going right now in her membership site where she helps women who are in sales learn how to be better salespeople, learn how to increase their sales, learn how to grow their businesses, because she is an amazing salesperson who has tons of experience. We have a great conversation today about building audience. How do you actually grow an audience to listen to your content, listen to your podcast, read your blog posts, go to your Facebook pages? We're going to talk a lot about audience building. We're going to get deep into how to build out a customer avatar so you know exactly the kind of person that you're trying to attract to your business. And we create an awesome plan for Renee so the next 12 weeks she can get this thing going and she can get this thing growing and she can start building that online business that's going to change her family's future. I had a great time talking to Renee, and I know that you are going to love this episode of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. We're about to get going. I'm about to roll the intro music, but could you do me a favor real quick? Could you hit that subscribe button and could you download a couple episodes of the Flip Lifestyle Podcast? If this is your first time listening, I hope it won't be your last. We want to get there in your normal rotation as soon as possible. And if you're a long-time listener, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you could, go leave us a 5-star review. The algorithms love that. We want to get our message of hope out there and help out there to get out there and serve as many people as we can. And when you hit that subscribe button, when you download a couple episodes, that helps us do it. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for subscribing. And without further ado, let's get on with the show.
Welcome to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. It is great to be back with you again today. Super excited to have another real person in the Flip Your Life community, in the Flipped Lifestyle audience out there and help them take their online business, their online dream to the next level. And I'm double pumped for this one because I actually do business in real life with my guest today. Her name is Renee Philpott. Renee, welcome to the show.
Hi, Shane. Thanks for having me.
You're going to get a bunch of country accents today, y'all. That's what's going to happen. We're going to have our country. We're going to be rocking and rolling with the country dialects, man. Renee is actually the person. We have all of our printing is done in-house. So if you're a subscriber to the Membership Masters newsletter, and you get that every single month, or maybe you're on our mailing list and you get one of our bulletins, or you get a flyer, or you get something mailed from us, you know that it was printed right here in house with love from a printer that we lease from Renee's outfit. She sold us our printer for us, and we're super excited. And she's also got this budding online presence, this online business going on that I'm super excited to talk about today. So Renee, before we get started, tell everybody a little bit about you, your background, and how it was that you got started dabbling and doing stuff online.
Okay, great. Thank you. I am from Eastern Kentucky, and my husband and I started an office equipment dealership. We've been doing that for the past 18 years. And about 4 years ago, I kind of wanted to explore some new business opportunities, really wanting to learn more about growing. At that time, my my office equipment business, and I wanted to see some other business owners that weren't just in the office equipment arena. So I joined a couple of masterminds, and I did some traveling, saw lots of ladies in business doing different things, and I thought it was amazing. They could do all different kinds of things. But once I was in the mastermind groups, I saw that my success in sales, I could help some of them while they were doing all sorts of different kinds of businesses. Most every one of them had some form of sales they were doing. And the way I looked at it, sometimes I could simplify their process and they could close more business, earn more revenue. And so that's what led me to begin doing some sales coaching and started doing some coaching sessions, just some one-offs. And then that's when I actually, this summer, I was talking to Jocelyn, and she opened me up to the whole new world of maybe a community and membership.
Awesome. That is amazing. It is weird when you get out there. Like, I'm in a mastermind with 3 guys, and about 75% of our conversation is memes and jokes. Right. But then there's that 25% of value bombs, and we get together, once or twice a year in person to really go deep on our businesses. But we're all in online business, and we all make money in so different ways. Like, it's not even, our businesses have nothing to do with each other topically, but man, you do find that there's a lot of similarities. Like, you've got to get leads, you got to make sales, content's a part of it. And there are those things that tie all of our businesses together that everybody does. And when you realize that you can actually help someone and make money off of that, and you open up a new revenue stream, it gets really, really exciting, really, really fast. And I love how you can't hang out with me or Jocelyn for long before the topic of when you're going to start a membership starts, right?
Yeah.
Then she pulls it down there. So your membership and the things that you're doing online is revolving around helping women business owners increase and improve their sales.
Yes.
And I understand that you have recently opened the doors to this membership, and you've got you a beta group on your hands. Is that true?
I do. Yes. And I've been doing it for the last few weeks, and it has been wonderful. I have really enjoyed it.
Awesome. What does your membership look like right this second? Like, how are you? And I know a beta group, it looks a little differently than, it looks a little different than what your membership will actually become when it becomes one to many and then one to masses, right? So, like, what are you doing right now? How does it look? Do you have content created? Are you meeting with them? What does that look like right this second?
Yeah. So one of my big fears was around content, because I thought I didn't have enough content. So I spent some time after Jocelyn did some coaching with me. I spent some time putting some content together, because I had all the content in my head, but I was really overwhelmed by thinking I didn't have enough. So she told me to start out, just simple. And so I started doing videos, and I would send them to my assistant. She would put them in for me. So that kind of also eliminated some of the overwhelm. So I would just do the videos, and then she would put them together. So it actually added up. So I've got like about 37 different pieces now inside of my community, but they're really short. So they're not like 30 minutes each. They're short pieces. And then she categorized them by subject of what you might need help with. So I felt like I had enough content in there to get started. And with the beta group, then I scheduled 2 group calls in a month. And then we actually did something fun. We did a Voxer day, so they could Voxer me questions.
That's great.
And
that is genius. Renee, that is brilliant. You just blew my mind. I'm here to blow your mind. You blew mine. That is a that's a cool idea. Cool idea.
And so that actually worked really well for me, because I'm really much better if I don't overthink. So if they send me questions, and it was easy for me to reply just with voice, and then they could, and I always usually have questions, so I could ask the question, they could send it back. So it was actually, I really enjoyed it and thought they got more help than they would have even with a strategy session, because a lot of times after that, I'll start thinking through it, and then we'll get, I'll send ideas later. But with the Voxer, they could take the information, do something, then Voxer me again. So that worked out really well. And I've been doing weekly challenges. Like, I'll give them a sales challenge at the beginning of the week, and then we'll follow up with wins.
Oh man, I love it. So you got all the hallmarks, the pillars of a great membership community. You've got content. I love that you went. Are these face to camera? Basically, you're just talking on your videos in your content area.
Yes.
Like, you didn't get too deep down the rabbit hole. Just, you got about 30 short 5-10 minute videos. That's easy to create in a week or two. You've got a system that lets you grow your content as people get you new questions. You've got community where they're interacting with each other, with you, and you're providing that structure, that leadership with these weekly sales challenges. That's the three things you need. Once you got content, once you got community, once you got leadership, you've got a membership on your hands, and people are going to pay for that. How much are you charging for the membership right now and the beta group?
So the beta group, the members are were free for the first 4 weeks. And then the going forward for a normal membership will be $69 a month.
Perfect. Okay, good. So that's awesome. And eventually that Voxer group, though, you might have to be like, we're going to say Voxer Day. Once you get to about 50 to 100 people, you're going to be like, okay, Voxer group is turning back into a Q&A because this is getting out of hand, right?
Yeah.
And Voxer is an app where people can send you messages for anybody that doesn't know what it is. And you can say a message back and it keeps the conversation recorded. It's amazing. That's the only way I coach is with Voxer. Because I don't even do one-on-one sessions. People are like, nah, man, just get on Voxer with me. That's way better,
Yeah, I think so. Now it has, I have turned that into just an offer by itself also.
All right. So this is great. This is absolutely amazing. You've got everything. You've got a foundation. You've got people participating. Those people are going to turn into paying members once their 4-week is up. And then you can start like going out and marketing this. So let me ask you, where right now are you stuck? And let's talk first about, there's two things that can get you stuck in online business. There's the strategy and tactics. That's one thing. And then there's the mindset issues, the obstacles and the fears and all of that. So you've done so much, you've taken so much action and you're just killing it. Like, what's holding you back right now from a mindset or a fear or an obstacle or something in those?
My biggest fear is that I won't get any more members past this. I just feel like I don't have enough of a following. So that is my biggest fear, is how to develop more of a following. It seems that the things that I do online don't really get that much attention. And it's probably, I'll post something. I've tried different things. I get more, people to sign, because I didn't even have an email list till this, summer, but I get more, I've done better with I've been guest on podcast, and I've really, that has been more beneficial than the stuff that I have been doing online.
So we're a product first company. We believe that philosophically in the Flipped Lifestyle Blueprint. You've done the right thing to build out your membership, get it out there and get it open before you worry about audience. I'm a big believer in that, because now everything can be pointed to the membership, and that membership is going to guide you now on what kind of content to create, what podcast to go on as a guest, and things like that. So the thing you've got to turn your attention to now is forget about creating any more content. Just get the hours that you serve your community locked in, and you've got to go out there and get your name out there with your content strategy. So do you have a blog or a podcast or a YouTube channel or anything, or are you just guesting right now through your network?
I have just been guesting.
So what you've got to do is you have to decide what you want to create, because you're going to have to become consistent as a content creator. Content is what drives all internet sales. And you have a lot to say about sales. You have a lot of experience. You've got things that you can create. You've probably got that same network of people you could bring onto a podcast, right? And maybe you could create your own podcast, like Sales for Women or whatever. I don't know what it's called. But that's the next step, is what does my content calendar look like? How do I release things? I always tell people when they first start out, you really need to be releasing 2 to 3 pieces of content a week. That seems like a lot at first, but you've got to get your name out there, and you've got to catch up with all the other people that have written 50 articles about sales. Then you can taper off. Like, that's what we did. We released 20 or 30 episodes at once on our first podcast, and then we dialed it back to once a week on the show. But even now, I'm creating 3 podcasts a week myself, right? Because you just got to stay in front of the game. So what kind of content do you like to create? Do you like to blog? Does a podcast sound appealing? What do you want to do?
A podcast does sound appealing. A little nervous about being able to come up with content all the time. I have lots of content, but it's understanding what people want to hear. That's another fear thing of mine.
Yeah.
Because I could go on and on about sales, business all day long. But it's just what are people going to listen to? What do they want to hear? I do a blog that I put in with my newsletter every week, and it is on my website.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work I could do with that, like SEO, that I haven't done. It's not hard for me to do the content and quickly put out the blog, but it could use some refining to get more attention.
Well, here's what I would do. Since you're already blogging and you're blogging about sales stuff, right? Like
Uh-huh.
sales content, why don't you do a hybrid kind of deal? Like, all right, so how many blog posts? Do you write a blog post every week?
Yeah, so I probably
Okay.
probably have 20.
Okay. You've already got 20 podcast episodes. Just use those as the outline for a podcast and talk about what you've already blogged about. And when you write, just do a podcast about that as well. But here's what you do. So you go out and you're already writing a blog post, just record it. Just as soon as you get done writing it, turn on the thing, go, hey guys, today's podcast, we're going to talk about this. You've already got your outline ready to go. Only air those like every other show. So it's just you as the expert speaking. Then you can go out and ask your beta members if they want to come on for a free coaching call and do what we do. Let them ask you questions and answer from your expertise. You don't have to plan anything for those, right?
That's good.
And
Yeah, okay.
then as your network, like invite Jocelyn on for a podcast, invite whoever you've been on, invite them back because you're launching a podcast. Like use your sales network to bring on guest expert kind of people. And you've got all the content that you'll ever need forever because you've already done 20 podcasts. You're writing a blog post every week. Just record that, stock those up, invite your people on and invite guests on and kind of give it a good mix of, hey, this week is just Renee. Next week is Renee and Jocelyn, special guest, online sales, right? The next person, the next one is, hey, I'm bringing on a real person from my community. Wouldn't you like to be in my community? And now you've just turned it into all you got to do is show up. All you got to do is show up.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's easy. People get really intimidated. Our entire business is based on people asking us questions. Like we do Q&As for YouTube. We bring on our members to ask. I don't even know. I didn't know what we were talking about today. We didn't talk about this beforehand, right? I just showed up at 2:00. And then even on my expert things where I interview for Membership Masters, that other podcast I do, like when I talk to experts, like today I talked to a girl named Monica Louie about Facebook ads. She's an amazing Facebook ad person. And I was just like, ooh, how do I do that? Can I ask a question about it? It's just I was curious about it. So when you interview experts, be curious. Don't try to be equal with them. Just be curious. Like ask them about themselves. When you interview your people, let them be curious, and you'll find they'll keep the conversation going. And then as you already create other content, repurpose it as your podcast just to stock up and bulk up the weeks in between. And I promise you will never run out of content. It's impossible. I have something to talk about every day. Like somebody asked a question in the Flip Lifestyle community on the Q&A the other night. And I was like, man, that would make a great YouTube video. So I just flipped it on and recorded the answer to it. And I'll tell you another thing. I have another client who I work in my Voxer coaching program. And I sent her a 3-minute and 26-second message the other day and answering one of her questions. And she got on and was like, oh my, she goes, you should turn this into a course. She's like, the answer you just gave me like blew my mind. And this should be a course in your community. And I'm like, all right, we got our idea for our next course. I'll just expand and tell some stories. Right.
Oh,
so does that help alleviate some of yeah, that's awesome. And if you go out and put that out every single week, then people will start to come, especially if you'll put some ads behind it, which your other business could fuel that. Just pull a little money and sell some ads,
Okay. Awesome. That's
Does
great.
that sound okay? What about?
You made it much easier.
Yeah. We all make it too hard on ourselves, but the good thing is we got people in the Flip Lifestyle community and be like, why are you making it so hard on yourself? It doesn't make any sense. Right? Turn on the microphone, record. All right. So that's a fear. That's an issue. We're going to grow the audience. What else are you struggling with in your business? Let's assume that you're going to be consistent over the next 3 months and start getting traction and your audience is going to start growing. Let's assume that. Okay. So now let's think ahead. What do we need to do to prepare for that moment once the audience happens and once it starts forming and we start growing? And what else in your business or your online stuff is overwhelming you right now?
I have spent so much time thinking about that I haven't thought beyond that. Except I guess maybe my next thing is I want to make sure, and I thought this would come as it went, that I am attracting the right people who I can help the most. But I was assuming that would come as part of, as I get it out there and I refine what I'm doing, that who I can serve the best will come along.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. Because so now that we know what you're going to do to create, okay, and now that we know what your membership looks like, The cool thing is you get to decide who you attract online.
Okay.
Because now that you've got your membership, now that you've got your content strategy, choose who you want to consume the content and let that clothe everything you create going forward. So like if you say, you know, I want to serve women business owners who have offline sales jobs, right? Like that's your background. You offline sales, office equipment, printers, stuff like that. You're really good at sales. You don't have to go so low into the where you're only talking to people who sell office equipment, because sales is sales. But what you do have to say is, you know, I want to be online or off. There's a difference in what I do and what you do. I sell completely differently than what you do. Like I'd say you do more conversation, phone sales, meetings, things like that, like in-person stuff. That's a different animal than email marketing, right? In sales, right? Or webinar. So I would write down on a piece of paper, one, like, who do you want to serve? Like, I would guess that this is more of a mentorship type business. So you're not really looking for people at your level. You're maybe looking for people who are in that first 1 to 10 years of sales or offline type business. And you want to help women in that scenario where you're the mentor. So maybe your demographic is women in sales who are between the age of 20 and 39, right? They've entered sales at some point there. They've been in sales less than 10 years. Like that's who you're thinking about. Now every blog post going forward, you think about that person and you have an avatar in mind. Every podcast guest that you invite on, you can say, you know, would this person be a good guest for this person who I'm thinking about? Like, for example, Jocelyn. Offline and online sales are blended now, right? So Jocelyn is a person who has sales experience, marketing experience, and that might be a good person. But another person might be, hey, I found this awesome lady that I met who she works at a car lot, right? Like maybe she's selling cars. That could be like, how do you sell high ticket offers like that from people walking off the street? So you can now you decide that maybe you'll get let's say you have another lady who's an online business, or maybe she's a life coach. Well, that might not make sense for your podcast to invite her on. So it's an easy no when someone asks to be on the show, because that's not the person that your avatar wants to listen to, right? So defining that avatar right now, who do you want to deal with? You know, another thing too that you could do that we do this sometimes when we target ads, we target a lot of Southern, Midwestern states, and sometimes I will even exclude big cities. And I look for that rural audience. I look for that person that's going to relate to my Appalachian Southeast Kentucky accent. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And we target Australia like that too, because Australians love people from the South. I figured that out, right? So all you Australians out there listening, how you doing? And we love your accent too. But now that flavors everything that you do, and you don't have to make a hard decision on whether to talk to someone or whether to talk about a topic, because you can address that person. So really, you choosing who you want your audience to be. Don't wait and see who shows up. Right? That's what I was saying. We're not Field of Dreams here, building a baseball field and hoping some ghost show. You know what I mean? Like just decide, like, this is the person I want to talk to. These are the people I want to interview. And now it's off your mind. You don't have to you get to pick. How cool is that? Right? I mean, you don't always get to pick who wants a printer. Right? Who shows up? Maybe it's a big knucklehead like me. You know what I'm saying? But you do get to pick who you talk to on your podcast and that conversation. You know,
that's really good. I'm actually much better at picking in person who's going to be my customer than I am online. So.
Well, okay. So here's a great way to do it. Like, if you had imagine your top 5 people. Imagine your top 5 female clients you love to work with. Right? Since this is a female flavored podcast. And sit down with a notebook and be like, all right, Sally runs this business. She does this. And don't think of it necessarily avatar wise of like her being your client, but why do you like Sally? Why do you like these top 5 people so much? What's their demographic? You know, like, who are they? Like that's your perfect client. And you can build that avatar. And the cool thing about podcasting is there's 155 million women in the United States. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a couple thousand of them that look like that person you write down in the notebook, you know? And I mean, all we need is 100 people to pay us $50 a month to make $60,000 a year, or 200 to make 120. That's a good living. It's not like we don't need all the women. We need the women that want you and your message and your voice. And And, I was scared to death when we launched this podcast that people were going to judge me for my accent. I was, Renee. I was scared to death. And you know what's funny? And Jocelyn was scared. She was like, who's going to listen to a couple people that can't get an I right in any word with an I in it? And why would they listen to us over these people from New York or San Diego or LA, like these entrepreneur gurus? And we figured out, man, that people love us because of that. Yeah. They love us because we sound different. They love us because we have a different vibe, and people will love you too when they.
I appreciate that.
You. That's good stuff.
Good. Okay.
So what do we think next steps look like? Okay, so we've got. We know we need to create content for an audience. I would highly recommend, because you have another business. I don't know what your marketing budget is that you guys normally market with, or maybe it's just word of mouth and stuff. But I would use the resources that you already have coming in and set aside $500 a month, $250 a month, something to let's grow the brand. Like right now, it's awareness. It's not even necessarily opt-ins, But I would say I would go ahead and use the resources you have available to give yourself a little kickstart. Okay, but you've got a content strategy you got to do. You got to get out there and you've got to build this avatar. So what do you think you need to do right now in the next 24 hours to a week to get this started and get this prepared and get this going?
I'm sure you have some ideas for me. I would assume I could start thinking about some ads and then moving into the content with the podcast and the blog. Is that right?
I would probably get the avatar first.
Okay.
And I would get my content strategy planned out for 12 weeks. Like, what am I going to do? Who am I going to talk to? What's going to happen? Invite your guests on, like get all your beta members, interview them and let them ask you. So I'm going to give you a free coaching call if you'll let me air it on the podcast.
Okay.
And then maybe figure out about, 5 or 6 guests you can schedule up, people, and talk to anybody. My first guest on my first podcast was the 7th grade defensive coordinator at the high school here in town. Right? And then it ended up being, and then like within 6 weeks, I was talking to college head coaches. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome. Okay.
So anybody in sales, just get them on it first and have a good chat with them. Then I would do ads, right? Then I would do ads.
Okay.
To really good content. So you just had it flipped. You just had it flipped a little bit right there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So my avatar, then my content for the next 12 weeks. Once I get all that, then I would do ads.
Then you would do ads, get some stuff out there. I would look on your blog or your website and see if anything's gotten some good hits.
Okay.
And maybe like if you've got a good article that's getting some traffic and is getting found in search already, which I tell everybody, if you would just write 50 blog posts, one of them is going to get caught on something. They're going to get a little attention. Just run ads directly to that and optimize the page on your sidebar and at the bottom for an opt-in. And you can just run traffic, to your demographic. You just punch it into Facebook, and then you just say, hey, go to this blog post. Hey, check out this article on how women can improve their sales 10% in a month, right? People are going to grab that and they're going to read it, and at least you can retarget them. At best, they're going to get on your email list, right, on the page, and just hammer home to grow that audience.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground, and I've already given you about 6 months of homework. But like, is there anything else that you've got a question about and struggling with, or does this seem like, wow, this is an actual plan and I can attack this, and in 12 weeks, I'm going to have me an audience and my email list is going to be growing.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yes, absolutely. You made the podcast sound much easier. So that really helps.
Oh, listen, I'm wearing a t-shirt. I'm standing here with my $50 microphone, and I do this. I've been doing this all day, and I've just been having conversations. I ain't playing nothing. I don't know. I didn't even know what was going on today. My assistant was like, "You got podcasts all day," and I was like, "Sweet, I'll turn the mic on and go." You got the form you filled out. I just read that in about 5 minutes before you get on here, and we just get after it. I like simple, Renee. You know me. That's why I print stuff and mail it. All right. Well, listen, I love you, friend. That's some awesome stuff. Thank you too for coming on the show. I know that you were a little nervous about it. And everybody gets a little nervous about coming on the podcast sometimes because we are talking about your business, and sometimes we're talking about fears. But I just so appreciate you coming on and talking about that, because there's a lot of people out there that are intimidated by a podcast, don't know how they're going to grow their audience. And man, we got to help them today just working on it in your business. So thank you so much for being on the show.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, guys, that is all the time that we have for today's podcast. Man, what a great conversation I had with Renee. I hope that it helped you start thinking about growing your audience, start thinking about your avatar, and start thinking about getting that online business launched. That was the critical part of today's podcast. Of Renee's story is that she put together the membership as fast as possible, got it out there into the world, and wouldn't you know it, she found a couple members fast, and now she has a strong foundation to grow her online business and to grow her membership. We would love to help you start, build, and grow a membership site of your own, an online business that could truly change your family's future. You know what we say, you only need 100 people to pay you $50 a month to make $60,000 a year, or you only need 200 to make six figures, $120,000 a year, and really take that dream to the next level. We help people inside of our Flipped Lifestyle community, and we would love to have you join the Flipped Lifestyle community today for free. If you go to flippedlifestyle.com/free, you can start a 30-day free trial in the Flipped Lifestyle community. That's not anything held back. That's instant access to every course that we offer to start, build, and grow a business. The same courses that Renee used to start, build, and launch her membership as well. We have an amazing community forum where you can come and ask online business questions every day. We got a great team in there supporting all of our community members to make sure that you find the answers to the questions that you have. We've got an awesome Facebook community now where we're hanging out and getting to know each other and being around other like-minded, family-focused entrepreneurs. Plus, I do live Q&As every single month. I want to be your coach. I want to answer your questions. I do community-wide live Q&As every single month for the Flipped Lifestyle community, where you can come in, ask anything you want, and you can listen in as I coach tons of other people as well to all the other answers that we have in there. So go to flippedlifestyle.com/free. That's FLIPPED lifestyle.com/free, and you can start your 30-day free trial today. All right, guys, we are about out of time today, but before we close the Flipped Lifestyle podcast, I'd like to read to you a verse from the Bible. Jocelyn and I get a lot of our inspiration and motivation from the Bible for business and for life. There's a ton of great stuff in there, and we don't like to close any episode of the Flipped Lifestyle podcast without sharing a verse that's awesome and important to us. Today's Bible verse comes from Proverbs chapter 24, verse 3 and 4, and it says, "By wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established, and by knowledge the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches." And that verse is a really cool verse because it tells you exactly how you should go out and run your life and run your business. You know, seek understanding, seek wisdom from people who have been there and done that or are doing that, like the community, like in the Flipped Lifestyle community. Go out and seek that wisdom and then learn how to do this stuff. Really pour yourself into the learning of it, the knowledge of it, so that you can grow that business, you can grow your life, and you can fill that house, your rooms, with all those precious and pleasant riches as well. Awesome Bible verse today to get us inspired to go out and seek wisdom, seek knowledge, and do the work to change our family's future. All right, guys, that is all the time we have for this week. Thank you so much for listening to the Flip Lifestyle podcast. Give us a share somewhere on social media. Tag us so we know, and we can holler back at you and give you a reply and say thank you for doing that. Make sure you subscribe to the show. And until next time, get out there, take action, do whatever it takes to flip your life. We'll see you then.
Bye.
One more thing before we go. Thank you so much for listening to the Flipped Lifestyle podcast. If you love the Flipped Lifestyle podcast, if we bring a little joy and a little happiness and we bring some knowledge into your life every single week, could you do us a favor? Go to Apple Podcast and hit subscribe. Download a few of the podcast episodes onto your phone. Apple's algorithm loves seeing downloads, and it loves seeing those subscribes. And please leave us an honest review over on Apple Podcasts. That'll help us grow the show, expand the mission, and reach more people so that we can help them change their family's future as well. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.